What does it mean to cancel a policy? I began whispering during my lunch break at work after realizing my voice had been unintentionally loud during a phone call. I hadn't made any arrangements to cancel my insurance policy, so I was puzzled and frustrated. My mind went blank. The insurance company representative on the other end of the line, a calm woman, contrasted sharply with my distress. According to our records, we received a request for policy cancellation from your end, and the procedure has been completed, she said. I had been subscribed to a savings-oriented life insurance policy. My sister-in-law, Rachel, an insurance agent with demanding job quotas, had persuaded me to get an insurance policy that was more expensive than the market rate. I'm Stella, a 40-year-old office worker living in an apartment with my husband and daughter. Today has been tough from the start. My husband announced he was going on an overnight business trip as soon as he woke up and started packing his bags. Our daughter, Amy, began fussing over her missing math textbook. Amy is only in first grade, so her need for help is expected. But when my husband starts fussing about his missing travel bag and new socks, it can be quite a handful. I've been contemplating divorce for a while due to our rocky relationship over the past year, and this kind of thing just adds to the irritation. Why don't you both prepare the day before? I couldn't help but say out loud. Amy obediently apologized and promised to be more careful next time, to which I replied, "That's okay, honey. I should have helped you check it yesterday. I'm sorry." My husband, however, was different. Amy is still young. If you were taking care of everything, she wouldn't be in this mess. And if you had bought me new socks, I wouldn't be complaining like this. I was furious at his petty complaints. I had no idea about your business trip. There are freshly laundered socks in the drawer. Isn't that okay? I like to wear brand new socks when I'm on a business trip, he replied. What's with that weird fixation? I thought but kept my thoughts to myself. He goes on these overnight business trips maybe once every few months. His company must have scheduled it in advance, but he just didn't bother telling me. If he needed new socks, he could have bought them himself or at least told me ahead of time. Amy looked like she was about to cry and said, "Mom, Dad, stop arguing." So I turned to her and said, "I'm sorry, Amy. It's all right. Let's find your textbook together." My husband resumed his packing in silence, and I helped Amy with her backpack. I sneaked a glance at him and noticed he was packing more casual clothes instead of his usual business attire. Is he cheating again? Something felt off. He has cheated on me twice before. The first time was right before Amy was born. I thought about divorce then, but he begged and cried for forgiveness, even getting our in-laws involved. My mother-in-law pleaded with me to stay with her son, and my sister-in-law Rachel implored me not to abandon her brother, so I decided against the divorce. But then last year, he cheated on me again. It was the same as before, a girl he met on a dating app. My husband is the type to blurt out whatever comes to his mind, and his actions are quite transparent. He thinks he's keeping his actions secret. As far as I'm concerned, it's almost as if he wasn't even trying to hide anything. In an instant, he's busted, and there he is again, apologizing profusely while weeping, even though he usually struts around with such arrogance. Seeing him crying with his nose running is just pitiful. I swear if there's another issue, we're done. I declared to my husband, made him fill out the divorce papers, transferred all of our savings into my account, and though I forgave him, any love I had has completely vanished. My husband always puts himself first. I can't forgive him for not caring for our daughter Amy or spending time with her, but I plan to endure until Amy gets a bit older before getting a divorce. In the end, Amy's math textbook was easily found inside her backpack. Amy left for school full of joy, but I was completely drained from the morning ordeal. I didn't have time to prepare my packed lunch, so I went to a deli near my office during my lunch break. That's when a poster from an insurance company caught my eye, and I suddenly remembered that my policy was the kind where you receive a celebratory cashback after a certain period. I think it should be deposited any time now. I'm paying a hefty premium every month. After all, without such little joys, I wouldn't be able to continue. I wondered what I'd use the money for once it comes in. I could buy Amy some new fall clothes. I was starting to feel a little excited. With a spring in my step, I dropped by the bank to update my passbook and found that not only was there no celebration money, but this month's insurance premium hadn't been deducted yet. That's strange. Isn't the premium supposed to be deducted the same month I received the bonus? Initially, I was simply baffled, but recalling my husband's shady actions this morning, I had a bad feeling and decided to call the insurance company. It turns out Rachel, my sister-in-law, was off for the day. Another woman picked up and filled me in, revealing the cancellation of my policy. She said the cancellation fee had already been paid, but I didn't see any such deposit in my account. The lady on the phone kept insisting that all paperwork was in order and that the insurance company had done everything by the book. It would be a huge issue if the policy was canceled without my consent. It felt like she was indirectly implying that the insurance company wasn't at fault. Let me make this very clear. I had absolutely no intention of canceling my policy. I'll check with Rachel and my husband, but you at the insurance company better confirm with Rachel too. I stuck it to them and then hung up. Before I knew it, lunch break was almost over. I didn't even have time to eat the lunch I'd brought from the deli, but my appetite was gone anyway, and I had other matters to attend to. I asked my boss if I could leave early, then I got down to completing the remainder of my work. I left the office a bit earlier than usual and immediately called my husband's cell phone. If he really was busy working and couldn't answer the call, that's just how it would have to be. Stella, why are you calling me? I'm at work. After a few rings, my husband picked up the phone, despite grumbling that he was at work. There was upbeat, merry music playing in the background. I wondered why my husband thought he wouldn't get caught. This is absurd. I'm sorry about that. Hey, my life insurance was canceled without my consent, and there's no cash value. Do you know anything about this? I'm thinking I might have been scammed, and I'm considering going to the police. What? The police? What the hell are you thinking? It was me, okay. I had suspected it was the work of my husband and Rachel, so I exaggerated my claims. My husband was startled and immediately confessed. I was somewhat relieved, but my anger began to rise. Oh really, it was you? Where's the cash value then? I used it to support my mom. Support? Did something happen to my mother-in-law? Did she suddenly need money? No, she just said she wanted to take a family trip to the holiday resorts every now and then. A trip? I was surprised at the unexpected words. You canceled my life insurance without my consent for something like that. You used it for travel expenses. The business trip was a lie. Yeah, I'm the beneficiary, so I don't see a problem. We're all going to stay in a luxury hotel. I'm in the lobby right now, and there's an amazing chandelier. Maybe he thought it was okay to open up because he got caught already. My husband bragged in an excited tone. What the heck? I have a complaint. I have a lot of complaints. Why did you cancel without my consent? I'm the one paying the premium for my own salary, right? You guys should be able to afford your own travel expenses. Oh, shut up. After all, if something happens to you, I'm the one who gets the money, so it's my money. You're healthy and you're not going to die anytime soon. You can just take out another policy. I can't understand my husband's arguments at all. The conditions change as you get older and the insurance premiums get higher. Do you really not understand that? Well, I'm not the one who's paying. I had a headache from my husband's irresponsible words. Do your parents and Rachel know that you canceled my life insurance without my consent? Didn't my father-in-law say anything? Rachel is obviously an accomplice. You and Rachel forged my handwriting and stamped it right. Well, yeah. My mom and dad were happy and said it was a good idea. After all, you're the one holding all our money, so it's all your fault. I want to take a break and have some fun once in a while. It's okay, right? We came on a family trip and everyone's happy. The family you're talking about includes your father, mother, and Rachel, right? Why aren't Amy and I included? Isn't your family Amy and me? Insurance is for emergencies, and I'd be happier if I didn't have to use it. Shouldn't you consult me first if you want to support travel expenses? Because you would definitely say no. You and Amy are always together, so it's okay to be with the family for a change. And besides, Rachel said she wanted to take out a new life insurance policy for you, so they thought it was like killing two birds with one stone. That's just for you guys, huh? Unbelievable. You don't want to admit something because it's considered bad. What an excuse. Aren't you embarrassed behaving like grade schoolers? You're making me not want to talk by getting angry like this. What a pain in the ass. If you keep up this bickering, I wouldn't mind getting a divorce. I bet you couldn't pull it off. Perhaps emboldened by being in a tourist spot, my husband sounded more assertive than usual. Understood. I hung up the phone. Brace yourself. I'll get back at my in-laws and my husband for all of this, I murmured to myself. My patience had reached its end. My husband had been underestimating me because I'd always forgiven him, even though he kept threatening divorce. I had thought my in-laws were normal people and Rachel wasn't a bad person, despite her insistence on pushing for a high life insurance policy. But normal, sensible people wouldn't unilaterally cancel their daughter-in-law's life insurance and misuse the money. This is what I get for marrying into this family. I'll cut them all off. I immediately headed to the court. I always kept the divorce papers my husband had filled out in my bag like a talisman. I submitted the divorce papers right away, then picked up my daughter Amy from an after-school program. On our way home, I told Amy about the divorce. Amy was surprised, but after explaining carefully, she accepted it. When we got home, Amy asked, "So Dad isn't coming back home anymore?" "Your dad won't be back tonight because he's on a business trip. We're getting divorced, so we're going to live separately, but we still need to prepare for that." "Then let's start packing right away. Hurry." "Huh? What's going on?" "Well, you're breaking up with Dad, right? You don't have to cry anymore. I don't like him because he's always mad." "Wait, Amy, did you always try to stop us from fighting because you didn't want me to be sad?" "Of course. I had intended not to divorce for Amy's sake, but it seems she had been putting up with the situation all this time. The reason why Amy was always trying to intervene in our fights was simply because she was worried about me. Dad never plays with me, even on his days off, and he tells me to go away whenever I talk to him. He only uses me when he wants to say something mean to you, like this morning. I've always been sad because I love you, Mom." Amy smiled slightly. Her smile pierced my heart. My husband, who was selfish and always prioritizes himself, had been seen through not only by me but also by Amy. And it seems Amy had had enough of my husband. It was heartbreaking to learn of Amy's true feelings in this way, and I felt like crying. "I see. I'm sorry, Amy. I've made you go through a lot. From now on, it's going to be just the two of us. But I'll take good care of you. I really love you." Yay! I vowed never to let Amy be sad again. While Amy was doing her homework, I kept myself busy by reaching out to a lawyer, searching for realtors and movers online. Then I contacted my parents. When I explained the situation, they told me to come back home right away. Amy didn't have to transfer schools. Moreover, if it was tomorrow morning, my father said he could borrow a truck from an acquaintance and help us move our things. I contacted the landlord and the elementary school, briefly explaining that we'd be commuting from my parents' home from now on. I decided to deal with the paperwork from the school gradually, and I called work to take a vacation day tomorrow. I wanted to get most things done before my husband got home. The next day, my parents came over and we quickly moved our stuff to my parents' home. Everything was done before my husband got home, and only his belongings were left in the apartment. I left a note saying, "We are divorced. We are now strangers," and left the apartment. When my husband came home and realized we were gone, he would undoubtedly be stunned. Serves him right. The thought of it made me feel triumphant. The reason I was able to prepare for the divorce so smoothly this time is that I had researched the necessary procedures and preparations when he cheated on me before. I had warned him then. Next time there will be no discussion. We will divorce. We had agreed that I would keep custody and all of our shared assets. In this way, my daughter and I started our new life at my parents' house. A few days later, I received a frantic call from my mother-in-law. My husband's phone was blocked, so I suppose she called me on his behalf. He is a weak man who cries easily despite his arrogance, so he might be crying pitifully. "What are you thinking? You're divorcing even though my son didn't cheat," she yelled so loudly it made my ears ring, and I instinctively moved my phone away from me. "Hey Stella, it's not too late. Apologize to my son right now. He's been crying because he's hurt. Aren't you embarrassed, making a big fuss over something like this?" "Huh? Apologize? Me? Why?" I couldn't comprehend her words and found myself blurting out, "Who are you?" "Huh?" She probably didn't expect such a response from me. She stopped speaking abruptly. I was surprised by my own words that just slipped out. "Hey, it's me, your mother-in-law. Come on, Stella, what's gotten into you? You can't possibly be going senile. You're still young." "No, I only have one mother. If you don't identify yourself, could this be a scam call?" I decided to write on my slip of the tongue. After all, we're strangers now that we're divorced, and there's no point in having a serious conversation with people who unilaterally cancel a life insurance policy. "Don't be ridiculous, Stella. If you're going to take that attitude, I have a few things to say too." As expected, my mother-in-law was furious, but I didn't care. "What are you talking about? Do you think you can do something?" I had an agreement with him that if there was any issue, we would divorce immediately. He told me on the phone that we were getting divorced, you know. My words left her speechless. I took the opportunity to press on. If he wanted to go on a trip, he should have just talked to me about it. Why did he have to commit a crime? Is your whole family looking to end up in jail or something? I think canceling life insurance without consent qualifies as forgery. You know that could lead to imprisonment from 3 months to 5 years? So I'm ready to fight this thoroughly. I don't want to hear about how his family has no savings or they're poorer. My husband might have just done this nonchalantly, but that's precisely why I can't forgive him. What? Hold on a minute. We can have criminals in this family. Hey, sorry, listen to me, please. Perhaps surprised by the mention of imprisonment, my mother-in-law, who had been on a roll just a moment ago, suddenly became submissive. But it was too late. I hung up and blocked all calls from my husband's family. After that, my husband was so shocked by the divorce that he voluntarily left his job and became a shut-in. As for the life insurance, we use the financial ADR system, which resolves insurance-related disputes outside of court and successfully settled. Rachel, my sister-in-law, was disciplined and fired from her insurance company. It even made minor headlines. Because of this, the in-laws became the talk of the town and were shamed by relatives, being told things like, "You have no common sense and have some shame." It seems they were quite uncomfortable. Both my husband and Rachel have become unable to work and are in quite a financial crunch. I'm living freely with my daughter Amy back at my parents' house. I want to make up for the hardship I've put Amy through by showering her with plenty of love.